Investment management. The rich get richer. I can stuff my teeth. Looking, all right, my pearly yellow is looking good. I'm sitting outside McDonald's at Dunkin' Donuts, minding my own business, working on my video course and my soon-to-be book, Investing Basics. How many pages am I here so far? 68. Yeah, this is it's gonna be a good book, man. And so I'm talking about Fidelity Magellan. I'm talking about Bill Danoff from Fidelity Contra Fund. You know how you don't know who the next Bill Danoff is going to be. You don't know who the next Peter Lynch is going to be. You just don't know. You don't even know if Peter Lynch or Bill Danoff will continue to do what Peter Lynch and Bill Danoff did previously. In fact, I think Peter Lynch probably could read the writing on the wall. He said, "I'm out of here," and take his money while the going was good. And Bill Danoff will see the same thing. And it was a guy named Bill Miller. Used to be the Legg Mason Value Trust. Now it's Clearbridge Value Trust. I don't know what it's called. And Bill Miller had this 15-year streak where he beat the S&P 500. And no one ever came close to doing that. And I doubt anyone else. Well, I don't know if I doubt it. We'll see if anyone does it again. It hasn't happened as long as I'm aware of ever. And I don't know if anyone's on track to do it again. I frankly doubt not. But the point being was everybody, myself, I used to work at Legg Mason. So that was a way in the door to say, look, man, we got a guy who's beat the S&P 500 for, that wasn't at 15 years, but 13 years, 12 years, you might want to get a piece of that pie. We all knew that the streak was bound to end at some point. And Bill Miller, to his credit, did too. And, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything like that. I just sit there, I'm sitting there, let me show you what happened here. So here we got Bill Miller from 1985 to 2023. All right, this is Legg Mason Value Trust. I don't know when he took over, but I'm going to assume right here. He's an old guy. And the S&P 500 smoked it. All right, so if you put $10,000 in the S&P 500, it's worth $563,000 today. It's averaged 11% a year compounded annual growth rate, whereas Bill Miller's 9.5%. And the reason is because of fees. No other way around that. Actually, let's just take a look at the metrics on this. I wonder if it will tell us how many holdings he's got. Let's see here. I'm not sure. Not sure it will. Yeah, he's all large cap value and mid cap value. Anyway. So here's the S&P 500, a little bit growth-oriented, but not much. All right, so let me show you what happened, though. From 1991 until 2005, there's a method to my madness here, man, because this just disgusts me. 1991 and 2005, Bill Miller smoked the S&P 500. What was that? $10,000 invested in the S&P 500 would have grown to $50,000 by the time the 15-year run was up. Whereas $10,000 invested in Bill Miller was grown up to almost $100,000. So he beat the S&P 500 by 50% a year, man. All right, so everyone's loving him. And again, he just said we got lucky. To his credit, he said that. So I mean, and we all know this. So I'm not bashing the guy. It's disgusting here. I'm going to show you why. So now we go to 2006 to 2023. And we're going to see, what did Bill Miller do? Oh, he got destroyed by the S&P 500. So $10,000 invested in the S&P 500 is worth $20,000 now. Compounded annual growth rate of 4%. The S&P 500 has more than doubled him. If we look at inflation adjustment, and again, I always get nervous on that because what are you using for inflation? Bill Miller has averaged right here. Look at that. Inflation adjustment, he's at $13,000. So you've made 30% on your money over the course of, what is that, 20 years or something like that. But the hits don't stop there. I just want to show you this here. All right, so let me just, there's this guy. Wow, he put on a lot of weight, man, a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of weight. Let's get on the carnivore diet there, guy. A lot of weight. All right, so here's Bill Miller. He's not done anything compared to the S&P 500 in the entirety of his career. He hasn't. The S&P 500 has beat him. And yet he made a $75 million donation to the philosophy department of Johns Hopkins. The largest ever gift to a philosophy department. So in 2018, he gave $75 million to Johns Hopkins in the philosophy department. Okay. He said, philosophy has made a huge difference in my life. All right, blah, blah, blah. In 2021, he donated $50 million to support Johns Hopkins physics and astronomy department. Well, okay, that's weird. So then he married a fellow John Hopkins trustee, Heather Miller. Okay. So that's kind of weird. So he gave $75 million to the philosophy department. In 2021, he gave $50 million to support Johns Hopkins philosophy department. Interesting. Next year, he married some chick named Heather Miller. Oh, let's take a look. Then we go over here, class notes. I'm going to show you if I can find it. check this out. You'll get a kick out of this. And we're going to scroll on down, scroll on down, scroll on down. Bill Miller and Heather Miller, formerly Heather whatever, married on June 2022. Heather has been a Johns Hopkins University trustee since 2013 and has been a chair of the Physics Board, Applied Physics Lab Board of Managers since 2021. And so she became the head of the Physics Lab Board. And just magically, she got a $50 million donation from old Bill Miller, who had just a couple years previously gave it to the philosophy department. Bill majored in economics and European history at Washington University. He later served, but did he actually graduate as the alumni? It doesn't say he's alumni of Johns Hopkins. He graduated honors at WNL in 1972. He studied at Johns Hopkins, but it doesn't say he's an alum. So she's an alum. It doesn't say he is, just says he's a trustee. And yet that other, I don't know if I don't care. Who cares? It's so freaking fake. He studied philosophy, he made it to department's alma mater. It wasn't his alma mater. At least according to Johns Hopkins, we don't see an alma mater here, dude. Look at this. No alma mater. You got Heather, whatever her name is. She has a arts and a science 88, and nothing for Bill Miller, but he's a trustee. So first of all, let's take a look at Johns Hopkins endowment, shall we? This whole freaking thing pisses me off. All right, so it's $8.2 billion. I wonder what Washington Lee's endowment is. Washington, let's take a look here. $0.15 billion. All right, that's better than I would have thought. That doesn't actually shock me that much because there's a lot of old money that went to WNL. Let's take a look at something else, though. University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC, an endowment of $105 million. Why do I say Baltimore? Simply because Bill Miller of Legg Mason is stationed in Baltimore. The headquarters are Baltimore. It's a Morgan State endowment, $41 million. I had one of my best friend in high school went to Morgan State, and it's an all-black school in Baltimore, right over by what used to be Old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. And Bill Miller lived in, I don't know if he lived in Baltimore, but he certainly used Baltimore to earn his wealth. Why not give it to Morgan State? Why not give it to UMBC? You know, there's a guy who, what's his name? A freaking Canadian guy. Kind of Malcolm Gladwell did a video, a podcast about Rowan University. A guy gave a pretty significant endowment to Rowan University as opposed to Princeton. I think he might have graduated from Princeton. But people do whatever the hell they want with their money. The point being is Bill Miller obviously had the hots for old Heather there. And old Heather said, hey, they said, Heather, we need you to be a trustee in the physics department. And old Heather said, I'll be a trustee in the physics department. And with me coming to the physics department comes a $50 million donation from old Bill Miller. That's your freaking money, dude. Charges 1% a year. Let's take a look what their fees are. Well, we'll see. They charge 1.74%. So Bill Miller doesn't need to do anything relative to the S&P 500, and he still makes enough bank to give $50 million on behalf of his new wife, who he marries. Literally, he gives $21 million. He gives $50 million in 2021, and lo and behold, Heather becomes a trustee in 2021 at the same place. And lo and behold, the next year, Heather becomes a freaking and Bill become married. How ironic is that? And yet they're charging 1.74 on their fund shares. Dude, the investment industry, I tell you, man, it's such a freaking scam. I did a video on my main, and I don't even post that much. I don't think I've done a video on my main stream with Josh. I don't know. I did a video where I showed you some lady who used to be the endowment chair of, I can't remember, like Colby or something like that. And now she's running the Rockefeller Foundation. And she used to be like the people in an art studio who's, look, a curator or whatever. Look at this art. Look at that art. God, I can't stand the investment industry. It's such a freaking scam. That's as much as I can't stand that Vanguard has so much voting shares, because this is fascist without question. At least Vanguard under John Bogle didn't get freaking uber wealthy on underperforming. Bogle I think died with like 50 million. With the Johnsons, from Fidelity, they died with 50 billion, whatever the hell it is. It's a sick investment. It's a sick industry, man. There's no other way around that. Yeah, I'm not saying it's evil. It's just sickening. It sickens me to no end. These people throw their money around. It's just, I love your thoughts. We'll see you.